There are so many people out there that say they want to own their own business or run their own life and take time off from their job when they want to. So they want to be an entrepreneur or they want to start something from the ground up, or either maybe even just attach themselves to something that's already independent. And tell you, once all the cars go by, what I can tell you about being an entrepreneur and running your own business is something that I've learned because I have done it for over 17 years now, like 17 years. And when I talk about being an entrepreneur, I'm not saying that I have a side hustle. Say be an entrepreneur, I'm talking about using the income from that business to support my family and do things as a family. So I'm not talking about having a side hustle, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that. A side hustle is great to bring in extra income because you always want to have more than one stream of income. But when I'm talking about being an entrepreneur, I'm talking about that is what you do to get paid. That is your job. That is how you pay your bills. That is how you make your household run. And that's what I'm talking about. So I'm going to give you 10 lessons very quickly, hopefully in less than 10 minutes. They didn't take me less than 10 minutes to learn, but I'm going to give them to you. And hopefully you can take them, especially if you want to start a business or if you're at the beginning stages, or even if you have had a business for a while and maybe even just want to reflect. Because some things that I definitely learned is, one of the things is, it gets kind of lonely when you're an entrepreneur and you're really striving to make changes and put your dream out there. Very evident is sometimes you have to do things by yourself because nobody else can translate them. Nobody else necessarily always understands them. You can try to communicate it, but a lot of times you're the only one that can do it. So that is one of the things is, it's sometimes very lonely, right? Because you're by yourself. So if you're not ready for that, maybe that's not for you being an entrepreneur. Another thing that I've also learned along the years is that you may not have a lot of friends at work. Like some people go to work and they have like their work family and their work friends, and they go out after work and they hang out and they do different things. Well, the way that I've situated myself with my business is a very distinct line. So I don't necessarily go out with the individuals that I work with, not because they're not good people and not because I don't think they're kind, not because I don't think they'd be fun to hang out with. It's just that because of my position, I don't want to blur those lines. So I want to keep everything very upfront, and I want to keep everything upfront and full of integrity and honest. So I definitely don't do hanging out. Like we may do work functions and have work parties and work get-togethers and have a good time that way. But a lot of times, like hanging out outside of work, I don't do that. I do not identify myself as mean, unorganized, emotional. None of those things. I would say that is how Shanna is. However, somebody may describe me as that because maybe I had to put them on some kind of a process improvement plan, or I had to talk to them about being late, or I had to talk to them about our policies and procedures. And because of that, some people may deem me as mean. And you have to be okay with that, because you have to realize that everybody has a preconceived notion of what they identify their boss to be, or in their head, their boss. So you probably don't even look like how they would identify their boss to be. And just because of that, they still will have preconceived notions as what the word boss is. So if you think about in your head, how do you identify a boss, and think about your boss now, and then think about yourself and how you're different, and could you see yourself as being the boss? Do you have those characteristics that you claim a boss has? Now, there are two that I'm going to roll into one, and one is you have to be able to hire well and fire quickly. So these are two things that are hard to learn in the beginning because you don't have any experience. Like let's say that you've decided that you want to open a business and you are your sole employee, but then business really takes off, which is great, but you didn't go at it with the mindset of expansion. You didn't go at it with the mindset of, oh, eventually I'm going to have to hire some people to help me out. You just thought, oh, I could do this all by myself. Well, if you really want to make it and you really want to make it prosperous, it has to go beyond who you are. It has to go beyond you, and it'll be big. So you'll have to hire people. So what you want to do is make sure you have your criteria picked out that you want to use in order to stack up to your expectations and be able to identify those individuals and get them on. But then also be able to realize if those people don't work out, if they're not meeting the expectation, if they're not meeting the standards, yes, we want to help bring people along. But you also want to realize when people are not going to be able to meet the expectations and you need to fire. So being able to hire the right individuals that can support you, but then also being able to fire the individuals when they don't fit or it's not working out. Bugs. Now, the emotional side of being an entrepreneur, especially if you are a mom, and is that mom guilt is real. So you may feel like, oh my gosh, I want to do X, Y, and Z with my kids. And part of the reason that I decided to do this is I want to be able to do more stuff with them. However, especially in the beginning, it may not work out like that. Like you thought you could work less. No, you're going to work more and more. And you thought maybe I'll work more in the beginning and then it'll stop. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you have to keep working and working and working and working. You have to realize is that sometimes the things that you want to do have to get put to the back burner, even if it is with your family or your kids. Sometimes things with the business come first, and you have to let your kids know that. And that when you start, like, it's not just you become an entrepreneur, it's kind of like your family becomes an entrepreneur because they have to be understanding of things that have to get done, or sometimes things that have to be put in front of them. And does that mean that all the time you don't get a day off or all the time business comes first? No, but sometimes because you're in charge, you have to make decisions like on the spot. People call you when there's emergencies. People call you when decisions have to be made and you have to be available. It's not like, oh, now I'm going to work from 9 and then I clock out at 5 or 6 and I'm done. No, people might call you at 9 at night. People might call you at 3 a.m. in the morning. Like this, sometimes, especially in the beginning, especially when you don't have a buffer in between you and everybody else that you are working with, you are it, and you get those phone calls, and you are the person that has to go in when everybody's sick, or you are the person that has to go in when it's a holiday, or you are the person that has to go in when everybody is starting school and your kids are also starting school. So how does that work? How do you decide that? So you have to be ready for that. You also have to understand that sometimes your personal time becomes not your personal time and it becomes business time or thought processing time, or a time that you have to just take to focus in on issues that you're having, because it's not always it's not always running smoothly as you would hope. There's always something, because just like life, there's things that pop up because as you grow, as your business grows, the individuals that you come in contact with grow, and as we know, people are going to be people, and because of that, there are going to be issues. So just be ready. Now, you all see my dog? I hope she doesn't do anything wild. But continue to move through owning your own business or deciding that you want to own your own business. You have to realize that you want to grow. So don't start out and say, okay, it's just me and I'm good with it being just me and forever and ever and ever and ever. No, you have to think about growth. Like, what is going to be your next step? Like, today, you are it. And in 6 months, you still might be it. But what if you add one person to your team? Make sure you have room for that. Make sure that in 2 years, you're like, oh, maybe I'll need 2 or 3 people. Just knowing that you have that in your goal setting. Don't think it's just going to be you forever, or you and your husband forever, or you and your wife, or you and your friend. Like, what happens if you and your friend decide that you want to add 2 more people or 3 more people? Just go ahead and have things in place so when it happens, you're not caught off guard. The other thing that you need to be able to do, because as you add more people, you have to be able to inspire people. You have to be able to allow people into what your dream is, into what you want to do, but also be able to have those people support what it is you're doing, support the vision and the mission of your organization. And the only way you can do that is to share it with them and then inspire them to participate. Become active participants. Become like they are, helping the mission come to life. And that sometimes is difficult because people are not going to always do things the way that you would do them, but that comes with greater level of communication, greater level of transparency, and greater level of being vulnerable and allowing yourself to show people what you're what the grand scheme is. Because a lot of times it's people, we want to keep everything so close to ourselves and not share because we don't want people to know about it. They might steal it. They might take it down the road. They might share it with the competitor. Listen, there are so many people in this world, and if you have something that's special and something that is your gift, nobody can steal it. Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can take it down the block and steal all the people that were going to come to you. No, your people are going to find you. It's just like being here on YouTube. Your people will find you, right? And they will relate to what you're giving them, and they will relate to your business. So to inspire, be ready for growth, and you have to be able to do it for free. Do that. So what is a great thing to do before you even start and decide that you're going to do your own thing for good to support yourself is making sure you have enough savings, making sure you have a financial plan in place, making sure that people around you know what you're doing, because sometimes it can get hard. It can get a little lean at times. It can get a little rocky and rough. So just knowing that you are going to have to expect that and move forward. Right. So these are just a few things that I have learned along my 17 plus years of being an entrepreneur and just out here doing business. And there's so many more things that I could share with you, and so many stories about how I came to learn all of these lessons, but I just wanted to give them to you. If there's one that stuck out to you, definitely let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. Or if you're out there doing your own thing and you have your own business, what have you learned along the way? Or what do you have questions for me about? Because I would love to answer them. I love to talk about this kind of stuff. I love productivity. I love talking about people doing their own thing, earning their own income, starting businesses and becoming very productive, and just really letting their gifts shine here. So glad you made it to this part of the video. I hope it was very helpful for you. Don't forget to like and share with somebody, because there's people out there that definitely need this information because they don't know. They're starting out and they think, oh, I have my little side thing and it's little and it's me. But it doesn't have to be little, and it doesn't have to be just them. They just have to prepare for that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.